Hi, this is Dave Schwartzberg, and I'm going to be doing a demo on how to do an iOS hash crack. The three windows that I am clicking on in Terminal are going to be the areas that we're going to be working in. So let's first kind of set the stage here. We have an iPod Touch already connected to this MacBook Pro. You can't see it yet, but you'll see that as an iPod Touch. And this demonstration would work with any jailbroken device, regardless of if it's an iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch. And this iPod has been jailbroken with green poison, and it's currently running a 4.2 version of the OS. It's an older generation iPod. So the first thing we need to do is connect to the iPod. And the way we do that is by typing in this command. ITNL is iTunnel. -- iPort is the iOS device port. And this is going to be port 22. Then we also want to define the local port, which we're going to set to 2022. So now you see it's connected to the device and it's listening. So when we come here, we're going to type in our SSH command. I'm going to log on as root at the local loopback address on port 2022, which is the same port that we defined over here when we set up iTunnel. And as you can see, it's listening on port 2022. Now when we connect, you'll see here in this window the USB multiplexer has responded, and it's giving us a password prompt. So a part of the awareness of this this proof of concept is that the jailbroken devices have not gone modified at all, just in their default state, have a default password. And that's what you're going to see in this crack. So I just typed in that default password. You didn't see me type anything. If I do an ls, you can see now I am now on this iTouch or iPod Touch. So the passwords are stored. Well, the other thing I could show you here is if we ls library, there's some other files, cd to library, LA, and we have files. We could also go to, say, address book. Whoops. And there's the address book database right here that could be downloaded and opened up, and you can get all the contacts that would be on this device if it was an iPhone or an iPad. Let's go up a couple levels. Back here. And here you can see we're just browsing the entire directory. And if we go to the keychains directory here, TrustStore, SQLite database, keychains database, and another database, the OCSP cache. So you can see we're on this device. What I wanted to also show you is that the password for root is stored in this master.password file. And I forgot to type in Etsy. Come back here, press enter. Let's try that again. And there it is. So when we cat the master.password file in the Etsy directory, you can see there's a nobody user, a root user. This is the hashed password we're going to crack. A mobile user, and the default password. So there's really two users in here that have hashed passwords, and this is the default. So this was previously up here, but I've since then changed this password, and it was rehashed by the operating system. So even though it's the same password again, it creates a new hash. So we're going to come over here into this other window where we run John the Ripper, which is a really, really powerful dictionary-based attack and brute force attacking tool. It's very fast and it's highly customizable for your whatever dictionaries that you want to use in different languages. So I have a file called crack test. When we cat crack test, you can see here's the old root hash. I'm going to crack that again, not a big deal. The other thing I want to do is cat john.pot. So there's no such file. John creates these password output files when it does a crack, just so anybody watching knows there's no existing john.pot file, and the cache, if the crack has been done before, it's cached, and there's no caching. So it goes to show you that it is fresh crack. So we go to Pico crack test. Pico is a command line editing tool, and what we're going to add here is root : select the hash. We're going to copy it, bring it into this window, paste it, Control X to save, Y for yes, Enter to write, and if we cat crack test again, there you now see root with the new hash on the password is there. So quick recap: we've connected to the iPod, we've logged into the iPod, we copied the hash and put it into a crack test file. Now to execute John, it's simply /John crack test. That's all we need to do. Press enter and it's done. It is that fast. Even though this is traditional DES at 128 bits, it is the hashing version of DES. And you can see here for these two different users, it's the same user account, but it's in there twice. There is the default password Alpine. You can see the time it took. It did not take much time at all. And if we wanted John to show us the cracked passwords, it could show you right there. Now you remember that POT file? John created a new POT file. It shows you the hash and the password. That concludes this iOS hash cracking demo and proof of concept, and it goes to show you that if you have your jailbroken iOS device, it's absolutely critical to first, on the device or using this method, change your root password. So the way you would change your root password is once you've logged into root, you can just type in password, and it's going to ask you for a new password prompt. Otherwise, you can also secure shell on your iOS device, so you don't need to set up this iTunnel connection and then SSH from another machine. You can change your password and make sure it's strong. Length doesn't matter, because all that you're going to have here is 8 characters. I've tried making passwords longer, and all it's going to take on the iOS device is 8 characters. It's still easy enough for John to crack and other tools that are out there. So make it very, very complicated, which would make it very, very harder for John to crack. The other thing is, once that's done, unless you are absolutely sure, you need to have secure shell, SSH, enabled for some kind of management of the device. I would turn it off. Unless you're an IT pro or security pro and you're very aware of the ramifications of being able to let users remote to your device, I would say turn it off. If you're an average user, turn it off. The other thing that's a problem here is two other things to point out. One is when I use the cat Etsy master password. Shadow files have been used for a very long time now in the Unix and Linux world. This is very poor security implementation. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that being able to just secure shell, if you remember my command here, as root onto a device, is also very poor security implementation. I should have secured shelled on as the mobile user and then asked for permission to go to and escalate my permissions or elevate my access rights to something like root or whatever, super user or admin. You should never be able to get on as root. Well, I hope you learned something from this quick demo. And again, my name is Dave Schwartzberg, and this is iOS hash cracking. Thanks for watching the video.